You are listening to SPN, the Sports Podcasting Network.
Still ball from Donovan to pick up Piatti. Piatti's ball. Here we are, 22nd minute of overtime. Marshall, step behind the defense. Ruiz is in. Ruiz is shot. Ruiz. That's it. LA are the champions. He's in a race to get back. Beckham is going to try it over the halfway line, and he's going to hit an empty net. What a goal from David Beckham!
You are listening to the MLS Postgame Show, live on SPN Radio, powered by the Sports Podcasting Network.
Wondolowski settles, drives, he scores! Wando does it again, 1-1.
Played off left side, and the blast is in far side, and it's 1-0. And the shutout streak of the Red Bulls is over, and so is the streak of games without a goal from Marco Caballo.
Good day, good night, and welcome to the MLS Postgame Show. I am Kevin Laramee, your host. You can follow me on Twitter at Kev Laramee and follow every show we do here on the Sports Podcasting Network at sportspodcastingnetwork.com. Live this week, Monday to Friday, Soccer Today at 10 a.m. But tonight, we are going to take a look at what happened in Major League Soccer throughout the last 3 days of competition. Friday, it started the MLS home opener for Toronto FC. First game in BMO Field for TFC since the MLS Cup. And it was a 0-0 draw, so we're not going to waste a lot of time. Clint Irwin, injured 4 to 6 weeks right now. So it's all up to Alex, not the singer of U2, Bono, to be the starting goalkeeper for Toronto FC for the next few weeks. And the other game later on that night, Seattle, the MLS Cup champions. Atlanta United in Seattle. 0-0. Not a bad result for Atlanta. Continuing to impress this season so far. Seattle, they'll take the result against a decent Atlanta side, but they wish they could have gone better. So a Friday without a goal. So that kind of whet our appetite for a Saturday of, again, a lot of goals in Major League Soccer in 2017. And it started with New York City FC versus San Jose. San Jose scored first. Then New York got the second, and Tommy Mack himself, first goal by New York was a shot by Harrison that was stopped by the goalkeeper, but finally ended up in the net, bouncing after. And the winning goal by Tommy McNamara himself for NYCFC for the win, which brings us to Chicago, Montreal, to the surprise of everyone. Bastian Schweinsteiger debuted the match. Nobody expected it. We were not necessarily expecting a start. We would have understood if he would have only played 20, 30 minutes late in the game, only had like 2 training sessions with the Fire. We would have all understood, it would have been fine. But no, he starts. And at the 17th minute, buries a cross for his by Akam. The play was set up by Juninho and Akam on a corner. Crossed in, Schweinsteiger far post. Hits it really hard. It hits Evan Bush, but still goes into the net for the first goal in this game. Mancosu at the 61st minute finishes off a cross by Duval, similar to the goal by Schweinsteiger. But Mancosu made sure that it was going in too. And then we have a 0-0 draw until Jean-Yves Balou Tabla, 18-year-old wonder kid for the Montreal Impact, decided otherwise and decided to do this.
Bernier
post. His first MLS start. And Baloo Tabla sneaks one in late for Montreal.
Unbelievable.
Unbelievable. The 18-year-old, freshly turned 18-year-old. It's his birthday. Scored the what looked like it was going to be the winning goal, but no, it wasn't meant to be. Selignac with a great control from a ball by Dax McCarthy that was created by Schweinsteiger on the counter. Then Dax looping ball control. Solignac finishes it. Great control. Puts it down. Finishes the far post for the equalizer. It's deflating. It's unfortunate for Montreal that they couldn't get that win on the road. Yeah, at the beginning of the game, you would say to the players, 1 point is enough. And I actually wrote on my article in Canadian Soccer News on Friday that 1 point would be considered a favorable result for the Montreal Impact. In the excuse kind of is Piatti's injured, other injury. Bernier only played 28 minutes or 30 minutes with extra time. So with the depleted roster of Montreal with Simon, it was a fair result, the draw. But the way the game unfolded with the Baloo goal taking the lead at the 89th, 90th minute, 3 points was there for the taking. And a small lapse, like small collapse of focus and momentum, basically, cost him 3 points. And against NYCFC 2 weeks ago, it wasn't that obvious. Like that 3 point wasn't like that available. Against Seattle, it was. And against Seattle, it was the same type of mistake too. The Cosman, it was a different way, right? It wasn't more in the way Seattle was pressing against Montreal, was able to create chances and was able to bury those goals late, and a fluke too, but it wasn't as much of a fluke as this one. Individual brilliant effort. I'm not saying the effort itself and the goal is a fluke. The fluke aspect goes to the probability of having that play occur again in other games in the upcoming few matches, which will make for a different result, yes or no, maybe a more easier win percentage. That's what I mean, where it's a fluke, it's a one-time event in this world. So that's what I mean by the fluke aspect of it. Montreal got the equal, got the game go ahead goal. Fortunately, the Chicago Fire with Luis Solignac came back to tie it up. Juninho, 2 yellows, got sent off. Cabrera, 1 yellow and a straight red. A second yellow on Juninho was quite soft. It was quite alive by Hernan Bernadello to make Juninho get sent off. Cabrera, well, he clearly denied a goal scoring opportunity. He was the last defender. The thing is, when Delu was coming, his first touch wasn't the greatest, and the ball was too far. And Evan Bush, goalkeeper of the Montreal Impact, was there to make the stop, and he would have got to the ball first. So it's unfortunate that Cabrera got sent off on a play that he didn't even need to execute that tackle in a precarious position. Moving on to Columbus Orlando. First defeat of the season for Orlando. Unfortunate. They still had a lot of looks on goal. 14 shots, 4 shots on target, 9 off, but still a lot of looks on goal for Orlando, and they would be disappointed with their no goals, scored in this game. Justin Merrim, 2 goals in this game. Federico going maybe back to his former glory. We'll see what the recent trade with Kukutamane, how he is introduced to the team eventually. But this game for Columbus is a very positive result. Columbus doing better than anticipated so far. In 2017, DC United CJ Sapong scored for Philadelphia, the lone goal for Philadelphia, but two goals for DC United at home, and they have their first win of the season. Now we're going to the TCF Stadium. Eventually, it will be Target Field, Target Stadium, Target Park, Target. Well, Luke Mulholland opened the score for RSL, and Minnesota fans were thinking, well, here we go again. We're going to lose again. It started. We conceded goals. We're going to lose again. But it wasn't meant to be for RSL. It was meant to be for Minnesota. Just a few minutes later, 12 to be precise, Kevin Molino gets the tying goal, and then Superman himself, with the assist of Kevin Molino, got the go ahead goal. And then a fluke kind of a play. You have Romando getting the ball to his feet. He juggles, turns around, loses the ball, and while trying to put it on his other feet, Ramirez Superman gets the ball and runs towards the net. Nobody to protect him, just boots it in. It's 3-1. Johan Venegas at the 58th minute continued with another great play. Molino's on the right side of the field. Comes in, he attracts a goalkeeper and a defender, centers it to a Johan Venegas, free and alone in front of an empty net. It's 4-1. For good measure, Yarosal scored a goal late. Uraz Movsizian, assisted by Luis Silva. Movsizian found himself on a one-on-one with the goalkeeper, puts it far post to the right of the goalkeeper, and the final score is 4-2. Minnesota, their first win in Major League Soccer history has been made. It took a month and a half, but Minnesota got their first W of the season, and they were really up for it. A lot of shots, 19, 9 on target, well, 5 off target, but 5 blocked too. So Minnesota putting on a clinic in this one. It must feel good to be on the other side of a very hard result. You know, when you're Minnesota United, it has been very, very difficult. You had conceded 18 goals in your first 4 games in Major League Soccer for a whopping average of over 6.5. This is quite, I mean, no, not 5.5. Math is not my forte. A big average, though. We'll agree to disagree. But this one, 4 goals scored, only 2 conceded. Maybe it's a turnaround. Maybe it's a fluke. Maybe RSL are that bad. First game for Mike Petke. He was just like hired a few days ago. It'll take time. But we'll see. Nothing really positive shown here by RSL, especially the play of Beckerman. And I have to say, I'm quite disappointed with Ramondo. Ramondo did stop a few penalties this year, but outside of the penalties, he's like Luis Robles in 2017. It's not their best years, not their best performances so far this year. And 2 goalkeepers that have been known to be 2 of maybe the top 5 best in Major League Soccer over the last decade. So far in 2017, they do not live up to their reputation. Moving on to Houston Dynamo against the Red Bulls. Dynamo's surprising team in Major League Soccer in 2017, and it continues. Kubo Torres continues on his Golden Boot leading journey with 3 goals in this one. Yeah, it started with BWP getting the go-ahead goal on the road, assisted by Kleistan and Mr. Felipe Martins, or better known as Felipe. But it wasn't meant to be. Dylan Mimic tied the game just a few minutes later. Then it was a Kubo show. Started with a penalty, and then there was 2 other great goals. Kubo Torres, 3 goals in this one. One was just for good measures in extra time. But with Kubo Torres, the confidence he had, the way he hit that free kick, the little stutter step, but it's not that. It's the power he puts behind it. That is quite impressive. Kubo Torres is having an amazing beginning of the season. He was a wild card when I was doing my prediction earlier on this season. When I was looking at Kubo Torres and how I would handicap Kubo Torres in my fantasy if I was playing, or if I had to choose him, he was a wild card. He was a possibility, but because it's a type of way to analyze a player where you look at what he has done in the last few years. Cuba Torres wasn't the Cuba Torres of the Chivas time, and we all knew the potential was there, but it seemed like it wasn't able to be channeled properly. I guess they found a way to channel it properly, because in 2017, Cubo Torres is firing on all cylinders. Golden Boot leading right now in Major League Soccer with 6 goals in 4 games played for him. It is him more than expected. It's over and it's beyond what is demanded. So far, the acquisition of Kyoto, Alex, and the play of Torres have rejuvenized the Houston Dynamo, have made Andrew Weger a lot more dangerous than he used to be. And kudos to the players involved in the new way the Dynamo plays, not being afraid of their Latin influence and using all those skills and a way to play the game to create opportunities. And those opportunities do become goals. And we've seen those goals many, many times for Houston this season. They had a few multiple goals performances, and Cubo Torres has a lot to do with it. Moving on to LA, actually to Vancouver for Vancouver Galaxy. A lot has been talked about with Vancouver. Wonder Kid Alfonso Davies, and it wasn't necessarily easy in 2017 so far for the Whitecaps. They haven't had the easiest beginning of the season, and the results haven't gone their way. And there's a lot of fans that were ready to use the big red button that says panic on it. Like a lot of them were ready to push real hard on it. But this performance might be encouraging for the Whitecaps fan. Teixeira on a goal on a crazy fluke play scored the opening goal. Alessandrini then scored a beautiful goal from far out. Follows it a minute later by another one. So everybody was like feeling, all right, it's 2-1 LA. LA is gonna just close it out. Vancouver is gonna kick their ass, kick themselves in the arse again by not having the opportunity. But it wasn't meant to be. Freddie Montero on the ball that bounced in the box. A play that was created by the Wonder Kid himself, Alfonso Davies, 16-year-old. He crossed the ball in, found Laba. Laba found a way ball bounce. Montero finished it. Then Laba finished the play by Montero, and Laba for a second of the game late to seal it off. 4-2 for Vancouver in this game. Vancouver, a needed result for them. A encouraging performance for Matias Laba, goal scorer, I guess. Freddie Montero slowly but surely finding the back of the net, and once again, Alfonso Davies with a more than respectable, a more than good performance. One of the best players day in, day out for the Whitecaps. This brings us to the last game we have on the docket before we look at the standings. We had one game today on Sunday. The Portland Timbers versus the New England Revolution. It finished 1-1. Diego Valeri opened up the scoreline at the 12th minute, and Lee Wen at the 84th minute scored the equalizer. It's kind of funny though. If you would close your eyes and I would say, all right, you got Portland and the refs playing. If you had a guess who scored for both teams, boom, you're saying Valeri and Wen. And you are absolutely Correct. A lot of yellows, a lot of red this year, this week in MLS. A lot of goals too. But now it brings us to the standings. In the Eastern Conference, Columbus Crew, surprisingly, yes, with 5 games played, 10 points, finds themselves first in the Eastern Conference. They were actually playing last week during the international break. Atlanta United, 7 with 4 games played. New York City FC, third with 7 points, 4 games played. The Red Bulls, fourth, 7 points, 5 games played. Orlando City, with their first loss of the season, fifth in the East, 6 points, 3 games played. Toronto FC, sixth in the Eastern Conference with 6 points, 4 games played. Now, the Chicago Fire, seventh with 5 points. New England, eighth with 4 points. DC United 9 with 4 points. Montreal Impact 10th with 3 points. And last in the Eastern Conference, the Philadelphia Union 11th with 2 points. In the Western Conference, we have the Portland Timbers first in the Western Conference with 10 points on 5 games played. The Houston Dynamo second with 9 points, 4 games played. FC Dallas 7 points, 3 games played. Because of the CONCACAF Champions League. In fourth spot in the Western Conference, the Quakes, San Jose fourth. Fifth, Sporting Kansas City with 4 points, same as the Quakes, by the way. Seattle in sixth with 5 points. Colorado Rapids seventh with 4. Vancouver eighth with 4. Minnesota ninth with 4. Minnesota not in the bottom of the Western Conference anymore with their victory. They're ninth with 4 points. The LA Galaxy are 10th with 3 points. And the bottom dwellers in the Western Conference are Mike Petke's new team, Real Salt Lake. I hope you enjoyed the MLS Postgame Show. You can give us a follow on Twitter at Kev Laramee or at Soccer Today SPN and at SportsPodNet. You can always find our live shows on YouTube. Just look for sportspodcastingnetwork.com, subscribe, and you will be notified every time we go live here on the Sports Podcasting Network. You can find the on-demand version of this show anytime, anywhere, at your convenience, on your phone, your mobile, your tablet, your smart watch, your smart fridge, your smart mirror, your smart TV, anywhere you like. Just look for sportspodcastingnetwork.com. And until tomorrow morning, 10 a.m., I am Kevin Laramee, and have a great soccer. You were listening to SPN, the Sports Podcasting Network. Visit us, sportspodcastingnetwork.com.